guys, welcome back. It's Thursday and I'm sorry about last week and I didn't have any time. I got so busy, didn't have any time to film or edit or post. So it's been about 2 weeks, but I'm back. For this week's video, we're gonna do some TV shows that have some very inspirational characters. Two of the shows that I have are Netflix originals and one of them is not. And you might not have heard of these, and if you haven't, that's fine. But I will say spoiler alert, because some of them do have some spoilers that aren't really talked about until later on in their seasons. I've watched all of it. I've watched every episode for all these shows, so I hope you guys really enjoy it. I'm going to start with a new series that Netflix has just recently put on, and that will be Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So if you haven't watched Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I would go watch the second season before you come and watch this video. So in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, there are three characters that I really wanted to talk about. The first one is Susie / Theo, Sabrina, and Ambrose. So I really wanted to start off this video with Susie and / Theo. They're the same person, because it starts off the show where everyone knows her as Susie. Her name is Susie, everyone knows her as Susie, but by the second season, Susie has like a realization. Well, she kind of always did, but like it comes out more in the second season, and she decides that she's a guy in a girl's body. And so she just like she tells her friends that she wants her friends to start to call her Theo, or him Theo. And so Theo comes out, and so I really wanted to bring up Theo first because he's very in touch with who he is, and he went through the whole, he has to come up to his friends, he has to come up to his family, like, he went through all that, and he, like, worked with it. And so, now, Susie is Theo, and Theo, it, like, goes into how Theo is, like, struggling with it, and how Theo eventually comes to accept the fact that he is a boy in a girl's body. Secondly, I wanted to bring up Sabrina, which, I mean, she is the main character, but she goes through, especially in the first season, she goes through this really huge identity crisis. She's always known she's a witch. She's always known that she's got to choose between her human life and her witch's life because she's half human, half witch. The show is kind of all about how she comes through everything to learn who she is, figure out what she likes, like whether she's more human or more witch, and then it's just how she becomes, like, accepts herself as a witch and accepts herself as half human, half witch, and how she comes to just be happy about that fact that she's half witch, half human. And then for my third character, Ambrose, I chose him because he has, you can obviously tell that he's fighting with insecurities that he's battling through. And then it also shows you how he's happy with who he is and how he's happy as a bisexual man. And so I really liked these first three people because they just really show how much they are like happy with themselves, how into themselves they are, and just how it's like to like be yourself. Like they're very inspirational because they are able to be themselves in this show, where there's so many different things going on, so you have to go watch it. I highly recommend it. It's really good. They have 2 seasons on Netflix right now, so go check it out. So, hope you guys enjoy that. Okay, so the second TV series I wanted to talk to you guys about was one that's not super popular, or at least I don't think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But it's called Shadowhunters. It's got movies, books, TV show now that's officially finished and everything, but it's got some really important, like, inspirational characters. I have 5 characters from the Shadowhunters series that I wanted to talk about. The very first one I wanted to start with, his name is Magnus, and then I also wanted to talk about Isabel, Alec, Simon, and Maya. Okay, so first off, we're gonna start with Magnus. So anyone who knows Magnus, whether it's his book character, his movie character, or even his TV show character, or actor, I guess I should be saying, they all portray him very similarly because he is very distinct personality. He's very bisexual. He's happy about his bisexuality. He's got cat eyes, which he talks about later on in the movie, book, and show. And as well, he's just overall an amazing person. Like, he helps out everybody. He's very in touch with who he is. He helps other people become in touch with who they are. And, of course, being a warlock, he's like a couple hundred years old. So he's very wise. He helps his friends and like the shadow hunters, and if you haven't seen it, read the books, or you don't understand what I'm talking about, go look them up quickly. Like, just kind of understand what I'm talking about, because there's going to be a lot of lingo that you might not understand. So with Magnus, he's very in touch with who he is as a person, the fact that he's a warlock, the fact that he's bisexual, the fact that he's a guy. Like, he's just very himself, and I think it's a really great thing to see on TV these days, because a lot of people don't know who they are, so to see someone like him and like his relationship he has with like the other characters on the show, like, you're like, wow, like, he's so inspirational, or at least I do. Especially his relationship with Alec, which we'll get to in a little bit. The second person I said I wanted to talk about was Isabel. So Isabel is like this really beautiful, amazing, like, badass girl who is a shadow hunter, and she's got tons and tons of things that you're just like, damn, can I be her? Like, she's super beautiful, I could go on. She's super confident in who she is, and if you watch the TV show, you see her go through a phase where she's all of a sudden brought down a peg and she doesn't believe in herself anymore, and then you just kind of have to feel bad for her, because you're just like, Isabel, you are amazing, like, what are you doing? Like, be yourself, be confident in who you are, and you just have to like support her and want to hug her sometimes. But for overall, the majority of the time that she's on the show, or even just in the books or the movie, she's just so confident in who she is. She's confident in her body. Like, it's just everything like I want to be. Like, if I could be a shadow hunter, I would be Isabel, because damn, she's amazing. Anyways, for my third person I wanted to talk about is Isabel's older brother, Alec. Alec is super, like, he's such an interesting character, because to start the show off, he doesn't know his sexuality yet. He's very still in the closet. And so you get to watch him open up and like realize that he is gay and that he likes men, and you just get to watch him blossom into this amazing guy who falls in love with the warlock Magnus, who I was talking about earlier. Like I said, spoiler alert. Anyways, and you just get to watch them as a couple, and you get to see him become who he is, and like become very confident in who he is, and he's like my favorite character. Like, and then fourth person I wanted to talk about was Simon. So you start off with Simon, especially in the books. He's a super nerdy guy. Like, he's pretty like into, like, he's not super confident in who he is yet, but he's kind of like getting there. He's like testing the waters. And then by the second book, and if you go into the TV show, I think it's like by the 4th or 5th episode, he's now a vampire. And so he gets to learn how it is as a vampire in his life as a vampire. Like, he's got to like come to terms with it, and he's got to like just, like, he's very lost. And so the entire show and the movie, like, it kind of shows how he goes from being super nerdy human who loves Star Wars, which they're actually not bad, and then to like some super interesting vampire dude who still has all of his mundaneness or humanness still about him, and then you just have to fall in love with him because he's so nerdy. My fifth character I wanted to talk about was Maya. And Maya, I want to say, is very similar to Simon in like what she went through, but she, instead of becoming a vampire, she went from being a mundane, or human, so she went from being a mundane to being bitten, and now she's a werewolf. And it kind of just, you see her after she's become a werewolf and how she's dealing with it now, but they do touch on it a little bit in the TV show about like how she went from being, like, how the transition went for her kind of thing. And so she kind of had it rough, but I mean, it's a really interesting TV show, and those are my 2 Netflix originals. And so the next one is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Oh, so hilarious. I love it. damn, it's really good. So I wanted to talk about 4 different people. I wanted to talk about Rosa, Captain Holt, Gina, and Charles Boyle. I chose these 4 people because they're very, very inspirational in the show. If you haven't seen it, then there are going to be spoilers, as I said at the beginning, so please watch out. So I chose Rosa, and I wanted to start with her first because in the very beginning of the show, she is a super badass, really cool, amazing girl on the show who everyone is afraid of. And then as like the seasons go on, you start to learn a little bit more and more about her because she stays very closed off. So it shows how through the years she starts to open up to her friends that she works with there. And so I think that's really amazing to see because there are quite a few people out there who do take longer to open up about some things than others, and that's totally fine. Like, we just need to realize it and be okay with it. And then I also chose Rosa because in one of the very later seasons, she comes out to all of her coworkers and friends saying that she is a bisexual woman. And so I think that's really important because she's in, I guess in this show, I'd say she's in like her late 20s, early 30s, something like that. Anyways, and so she's finally just coming out. And then it also shows how she comes out to her parents and how they take it. And it just kind of gives you an overall idea of how this can work. Like, or not how it works, but like kind of what her experience was like coming out to her friends and her family and everything. And so I think that's a really big like thing to put, especially out on social media, because there will be people who still don't accept LGBTQ plus people, and it's really sad. And then I also wanted to add Captain Holt in there because he was a gay black cop, and he started working in like the 70s, so they talk about how the cops were racist, how they were sexist, how they just, it was like they talk all about it, and I just have to like sit there and be like, oh, my heart. And like, it's just so painful to watch because you just, well, I guess, like, it's really sad to see that all happens in, that used to be a part of our history. And yeah, it is still there, and we all, like, I'm sure most of us already know that, but it's just really interesting to see this point of view from it because he was a gay black cop in like the 70s or 60s or 80s, I think it was the 70s. And so like it just like they touch on that and then just kind of like go into that, and then yeah, just that he's a very, very inspirational character, and he's awesome too. And then my third character I had on there was Gina. She, like, from the very beginning, from the very first second you meet Gina, she is literally like, I am amazing, I am everything. Like, she's just so confident in herself. Like, she's kind of a little bit self-absorbed, which, I mean, not great, but just she's so confident in herself. Like, she is who she is, and she doesn't care what other people think. Like, it's just, you just get to see her, and you just get to, like, watch her exude this to all of her friends and coworkers, and you just have to be like, one day I want to be like that. At least that's what I think. Like, not so much that I'm self-absorbed, but, like, that I'm confident enough in myself to be like that. The fourth person I put here was Charles Boyle. And I put him here because in the TV show, he gets teased quite a bit. Like, unfortunately, like, his friends are all, like, pick on him and they tease him. But even throughout all this, like, he still comes out being himself. He's a major foodie and he lets people know it. He loves fiercely, and he lets people know it. He's a huge, I want to say, like, kind of like a huge nerd, but not really. Like, but no matter what anyone teases him about, he sticks true to who he is. He has a little bit of jealousy problems when it comes to friends, which, I mean, that's not a great thing to look off of, but he's just so in touch with who he is. And no matter how many times his friends or coworkers tease him and get mad at, like, not mad at him, but, like, tease him and, like, make fun of him, he still ends up being himself. He's still happy with himself, which is why I think he's, like, the greatest way to end this video. So, thank you guys for watching. I know this week's video is a little bit longer, but I had some explaining to do about the characters. And so, yeah. I will see you guys next Thursday. I hope you guys come back, and